I do my flips a little differently. I only acquire these houses creatively. So we go after more luxury properties that have a lot of equity that we're able to just offer more than a traditional cash investor would if the sellers are willing to wait to get the remainder of their equity until we finish renovating the house.
Interesting. Interesting. So what would make buying a house creatively from a homeowner who has lots of equity, what makes that type of deal attractive to them?
Yeah. So ultimately, they're just going to make more money on the sale, right? If they're willing to wait. And so there's a specific like avatar that we typically work on this type of deal structure. And it seems to be, it's normally like the seniors, somebody that's owned a home for 30, 40 years, raised their family there. Now they're either transitioning into assisted living. They bought a condo at the beach and they're just ready to retire. So they have this asset that has a ton of equity, but it needs a decent amount of work to really get the highest and best price on the market.
Yo, welcome back to another episode of the Israel Miller podcast. Today I have the infamous Adam Colburn on my platform. But first of all, I just want to say thank you for joining me. Yo, me and Adam, we're both part of a group called the Owners Club. We're partners in a title company. We're partners in a tech company, Prop AI. Shout out to Creative Title and Escrow. So worldwide, not worldwide, but national title company, and we're growing. So yeah, soon. Man. Yeah, we'll be worldwide real soon. We're working on it. I'm speaking into existence right now, man.
That's right.
I'm speaking into existence. But nah, man, Adam, we got to work hand in hand together a few months ago with was that like November, December, and the No One Left Behind challenge. Yeah, you came on and he was one of the closers for my team. We took a team of newbies and we were helping them hand in hand, just trying to help them get comfortable with making phone calls. Adam was one of the closers on my team, just rocking and rolling and providing value. Like that's one of the things that we do in this community. We're go-giving community, the substitute community, we're go-givers first before we do anything else. Adam during that challenge, he was just providing massive value to the newbies, just training them, letting them listen in on the calls, to copy his language. So Adam, for that, I want to say thank you and welcome to the Israel Miller podcast, my friend.
Absolutely, brother. Really appreciate you taking the time and asking me to come on. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, for sure. So Adam, I know you're out of the Raleigh, North Carolina market, correct?
That's right.
Okay. So it's my understanding that what type of projects are you doing up there?
Yeah, so we're doing renovations. We're typically doing 2 to 4 flips at any given time in the Triangle area. So like Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill here in North Carolina. We've done some stuff in Greensboro, looking at some stuff in Wilmington. So kind of all over the state. But our bread and butter is like here within an hour of Raleigh. I do my flips a little differently. I only acquire these houses creatively. So we go after more luxury properties that have a lot of equity that we're able to just offer more than a traditional cash investor would if the sellers are willing to wait to get the remainder of their equity until we finish renovating the house.
Interesting. So what would make buying a house creatively from a homeowner who has lots of equity, what makes that type of deal attractive to them?
Yeah. So ultimately, they're just going to make more money on the sale, right? If they're willing to wait. And so there's a specific like avatar that we typically work on this type of deal structure. And it seems to be, it's normally like the seniors, somebody that's owned a home for 30, 40 years, raised their family there. Now they're either transitioning into assisted living. They bought a condo at the beach and they're just ready to retire. So they have this asset that has a ton of equity, but it needs a decent amount of work to really get the highest and best price on the market, and they don't want to put $50,000, $60,000, $80,000 into the house to fix it up. So I'm able to come in, offer them significantly more than a cash investor could if they're just willing to wait some time to get that additional equity, where I'll give them typically 10% down. We'll take over the loan if there is one, or if it's a straight seller finance deal, we can build out some terms where I'll pay them monthly as we work on the home. And then once we sell, they get paid first, and then whatever's left over is our profit on the flip.
That's an interesting model. That's very interesting. So you're offering them more. So what makes it attractive? A traditional cash offer is going to come in. Someone is going to offer them 50, 60 cents on a dollar, which turns a lot of people off. They say, you're trying to lowball me. However, you come in from a different perspective. You give them a few dollars down. They sign up. Do they sign the property over to you? Do you take title to it?
Yeah, we close sub 2. So like the model is very similar to a novation, but rather than partnering with the sellers and the sellers remaining on title and you have to get power of attorney, all that kind of stuff. I've heard too many horror stories of deals falling apart at the closing table where, let's just say you're the seller, Israel, and you're walking away with $150,000 and then you see the HUD and I'm making $200,000. They're like, what the heck is this? Right? And they could blow the deal up. Or they're like, I love the renovations that you did. I actually want to keep the house. I'm just going to refinance and keep it. Right? Now my money's trapped in that property. That can't happen in this structure because we close sub 2. We have the deed to the house. We have full control. The debt remains in the seller's name, but we service it on their behalf. And then once we complete the renovation and sell, that underlying mortgage gets paid, their equity gets paid out, and then the profit that's remaining is ours. And so they can't ever see what my profit is. So whether I'm making $1 or $1 million, we've already negotiated their equity or their profit on the back end. Mm-hmm. And so that just gives me that security that regardless of what happens, the sellers get that number and then they're not getting squirrely like at the closing table where they're going to stop me from making the money that I'm going to make.
Right. Because I know, because like you said, they can get quote unquote squirrely and get mad. They see that HUD, they look at that flip number and they be like, you told me you wanted to give me this for, but you sold it for that amount. Like, and it does turn a lot of people sour, man.
Yeah, I can for sure.
But we get paid well because we know how. We have a specialized knowledge and we get paid for that knowledge that we have for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, and ultimately we're just solving problems, right? The bigger the problems we solve, the more money we make. And so just as an example, like a deal that we just did, we're under contract right now to sell the flip, but there's a large home in Chapel Hill. They originally wanted $700,000 for this house. Mm-hmm. So talking to the agent, just hearing all of the repairs that it needed, they had done nothing in 40 years. Roof, HVAC, flooring, windows, nothing had been touched in 40 years, but it's in a really prestigious neighborhood in Chapel Hill. And so I told her on the phone, I was like, look, just from what you're telling me, my absolute highest offer would be $625, but I can't even promise you that I can do that. I need to come out and look at the property first. And so went there with my contractor. He told me, and in front of the sellers, like, yeah, this is $200,000 all day long. Like everything needs to be touched. And this is a large home. It's over 3,000 square feet. And so running numbers real quick, I just basically laid it out to the sellers. Like, look, if you just want a cash sale, you want to be done, move to the beach, dip your Mai Tais in your condo, I'm at 510 and I'm still nervous because we haven't cut into these walls. This is some serious money that we're throwing around. I don't know what else could be hiding in this house, right? To increase that budget over 200,000. I can give you the 625, but you got to let me flip the house first. And they're like, okay, what does that look like? I was like, well, I can give you 10% now, give you $60,000 down. I'll pay your agent commissions for you. So you're not having to come out of pocket for that. We'll cover all closing costs and I'll service the loan while we work on the house. And then once we sell, you'll get the lion's share of your equity. So if you're willing to wait 8 to 10 months, you're going to make an extra $115,000. What do you want to do? Right? Because in either scenario, it makes sense for me. But in the creative structure, I have to raise significantly less money to get the project done. If I'm coming in cash at 510, I need $200,000 in renovation costs. I'm going to have to raise $710,000, or even with my good private money lenders at 10%. I mean, that's like $6,000 a month in carrying, where in this creative structure, where I just bring $60,000 to the table and then my $200,000 renovation, I'm raising $260,000 and just keeping the mortgage in place, which was a 4% interest rate. It was like $1,000 a month on this house. And so much easier to raise that small amount of money to still make the same profit on the back end, which on this house, the ARV was 1.2 million. And that's what we have it under contract for.
So that's going to be a nice little payday connected to this thing. Okay. I like it. So tell me this, you mentioned private money lenders. How are you? So you're using private money to fund these transactions?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Now, what's the benefit to a private money lender for investing with you? What benefits do they get from that?
Sure. Yeah. Well, they're getting a high rate of return backed by real estate. So there's no downside. They require my lenders or kind of cap them at lending more than 75% of the after repair value against the property. So there's never a situation where we're over leveraged, where if I put the house on the market, I can't sell it to the point where my lenders are not going to be made whole. that 25% equity cushion gives us the ability to slash the prices if the market goes crazy or it sits too long. There's never a situation where I'm not going to have the money to pay them. And even if we had to slash the price to break even, my lenders are always going to get paid back, right? If anyone's going to lose money, it's me. And the way that I'm running my numbers, if it gets to that point, then I deserve to lose money, right? I mismanaged the property. But my lenders get a promissory note and deed of trust against the property. So they're secured against the house. I can't sell it out from underneath them. They're getting a monthly interest-only payments from me, unless it's using retirement funds. We'll typically just wait until the end of the project because they can't use those funds anyways. It's not liquid capital. But we're paying them a high rate of return backed by the asset, and they're in real estate, but they don't have to do any of the work and still getting a really high return on their money.
Now that right there is a gem. Like, that's a diamond right there. Like, you can actually, there's a way, you're telling me there's a way that I can invest my money with you. I can get the benefits of you rehabbing this home. I can experience on the upside and I don't have to do any of the work.
That's correct.
Wow. That's phenomenal. So, like, how do you typically find a private money lender? How do you find your lenders?
Sure. Yeah. So a lot of them I've met at just local meetups, people that are already in the space that understand the benefits of investing. They're the easiest ones to work with because they're experienced and they understand how renovations work, why we're utilizing their funds. Outside of that, I mean, just my sphere of influence, right? Family and friends that have retirement funds, have a 401k from a past job that are just kind of sitting dormant. I can show them how we can maximize that retirement, grow it for them without having to lift a finger and getting out of the high volatility of the stock market, right? Like, even with a blue chip stock, like, there could potentially be like some bad news that comes and that business could go to zero. But in a real estate transaction where you're lending against a hard asset, I mean, even the dirt that it sits on is worth something, right? It will never go to zero. And we're protecting them with that equity cushion. And obviously we're adding value to the home. So if the absolute worst case scenario, I couldn't make my payments, I get abducted by aliens, like what our mentor Pace likes to say, like, they're going to get a renovated home that's worth significantly more than they invested, that they can turn around and sell and make an even larger profit.
Wow. Well, let's say I got $100,000 sitting in my retirement account. I quit my job a few months ago and I just got this retirement account sitting there. Or, maybe retired, and your money, like the stock market is tanking at this current point in time. Like, the Dow is down, everything is down, the sky is falling. So your stocks or whatever market you're in is not performing at its highest capacity right now. Someone get out there could essentially move their money, if it's in some form of a self-directed account, and turn it over to you and let you manage that and get 12, 13, 14% return. What type of typical returns are we talking about?
Yeah, most of my private money lenders were between 10 to 12% interest only. And it's normally like, we'll sign a year-long promissory note, but my typical rehab timeline is around 4 months on average. And I guarantee my lenders at least 6 months return, right? So even if we get it done in 4 months, they're making 6 months of interest that we can just re-collateralize to the next property if they just want to keep their money working. Or at the end of the property, right, we close and sell, then I can just send those funds right back to them. So it gives us some flexibility there. There are some situations where I'll do more of like a private money partner situation where I'll bring the deal, I'll bring the crew, I'll run the project management. The lender will bring the funds 100%. I won't make monthly payments to them, but I'll pay them back their principal and they'll get 50% of the profit on the flip, right? So their cash on cash return is much higher, but now you're attached to the upside or the downside of the flip, right? So it could be slightly riskier because there's no guarantee. I mean, you're getting your principal back 100%, but the profit could vary depending on how well the flip sells, where a private money lender is guaranteed 10 to 12% locked in on the deal.
Okay, so that's the difference between a private money lender. They're lending, you're going to guarantee 10, 12% return. A private money partner, they're more tied in with you on this deal, on this transaction. And, you're going to just get paid on the performance of how well the property flips. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, there's never a time where they're going to lose money. Like, their investment will always get paid back first. And we underwrite very conservatively. I'm not closing on a flip unless we're making 100 grand. That's just how I underwrite these days, especially doing these creative structures because we're going after more luxury assets. But in that scenario, right, if I needed $200,000 to acquire the house and renovate it, you would provide the 200,000. You're going to get paid 200,000 back plus half of the flip. So if we're going to make 100 grand, you're going to get $50,000 in profit on top of your 200.
Love it. I love it. It just makes sense. It just makes sense. So a person who wants to get involved in real estate, they just don't know how. Is this like if they're able to invest money, is this a good way to get involved in real estate?
I think so 100% because you can attach yourself to an operator who knows what they're doing, that has the systems and processes in place, and you can learn while you earn, right? You're guaranteed a return on your money when you're backing an operator to do a flip. And rather than having to kind of just go in blind and learn on the fly, like where do I get my contractors? How do I structure a scope of work on a flip? Who comes in first? How do I pay them? You don't have to deal with any of that. You just provide the funds, you're making money. And then at least in projects like with myself, like we could put you in a Slack thread, WhatsApp thread, just text messages. Even if you're local, you can meet at the properties, meet my contractors, see how I interact with them, how we build our scope of work, how we've designed these homes. And so you're kind of getting a full-on masterclass of how to do a flip yourself with none of the risk of actually running the project. Right. And so I've had several lenders in the past that that's how they've gotten into the space. They've wanted to flip a house, but they just felt unprepared to run it themselves. So I'll do a flip. They'll lend me some money and I'll show them the path along the way. They made some capital as we sold the flip. And then now they've have this knowledge base to go out and do a flip themselves. Or maybe we partner on a flip and kind of transition to the point where if they want to go out and do it themselves, now they have the knowledge base to do so.
Interesting. That's dope. So look, guys, if you're watching this and you got a question or a comment or any type of feedback about anything that Adam just said, from how he's acquiring a property, how he's partnering with people, how he's working with private money lenders, drop your comment or drop your question in the comment section right now. So we know how to answer that on our next video. So Adam, let me ask you a question. How do you protect your lenders?
Yeah, so 100%. Yeah, so all of our lenders get a promissory note and a deed of trust or a mortgage, depending on the state you're in, secured against the house. Typically, because we're buying these creatively, there's going to be a first position lien in place. And so they're going to be in second position. But because I'm requiring them to stay under that 75%, I'm only bringing them opportunities that will align with that. So there's not as much risk. Right. More savvy investors like in this space will kind of like raise an eyebrow at that, like not being in first position. But because I have so much equity on this deal, that there's never a situation where they're going to get left holding the bag. Right. And these are not long-term holds. These are flips that we're actively putting money into so that in the worst case scenario that I disappear, I can't make my payments, they still have a renovated home that's going to be worth more than what they invested.
So once you rehab these properties, what are you doing with them?
Yeah, we're just selling them. We're selling them to families to enjoy and live in for however long they want to be there, right? Like that's our active income side. We're just doing the fix and flips. As far as like long-term holds, my big focus is in the sober living space. And typically we're not doing a ton of renovations on those. We're just acquiring those creatively, buying them sub 2 so we can get a low interest rate and then cash flowing. If there is some renovations that need to be done, we will do that. And then probably 5 to 7 years into the hold, we could refinance. Okay. But we're kind of both arms work in tandem, right? Our active income comes through our flipping. We wholesale a little bit as well, but we can use the profits from our flips to go in and buy these long-term legacy assets in the sober space.
Now, why did you choose sober?
Yeah, so it kind of just fell into my lap, to be honest. The first one that we did was in Knoxville, Tennessee. We acquired it from an REO broker. So they sent us the property and I was looking at it directly to be an Airbnb. Like it was 5 minutes away from the University of Tennessee, perfect opportunity. But the more I found out about the short-term rentals, didn't make sense. Like it was basically impossible to run a short-term rental as an out-of-state investor. And so we pivoted, looked at all the additional exit strategies, and sober just kept coming up in conversations with other folks. I have a buddy in Greensboro, shout out Tom Illingworth, another sub 2 student who was running some Oxford houses in Greensboro. And I was chatting with him and just trying to hear about the viability of them. And he's like, they're amazing. They're really easy to work with. And then obviously the benefit of providing safe and affordable housing for folks that really truly need it, trying to get back on their feet, coming out of recovery. That hit home for me. I've never dealt with addiction issues personally, but I feel like a lot of people, that's ripples in their family tree. And I had several family members and friends that struggled with that. And so being able to provide value in that way while also cash flowing better for ourselves so we could build that legacy wealth, it just kind of killed 5 birds with 1 stone. And so we just went with that direction. And now that's my big push over the next 5 to 7 years for our long-term holds.
Okay. So what's your vision? What's your vision over the next 5 to 7 years? What exactly is it that you're trying to accomplish?
Yeah. So my big vision, or Mount Everest is what we're calling it, is I want to provide safe and affordable housing for 1,250 people coming out of recovery, all while netting $100,000 a month. And so reverse engineering that, I need 157 houses.
Okay. Now, when you, I know when you're doing like sober living or the co-living model, people look at the math a little bit differently. So the amount of houses you need, how does that correlate to the amount of doors that you need?
Yeah. So because each individual person that's living in these homes is self-pay, I'm just kind of basing it off of our first house that we have. We have several others under contract right now that we're going to add to the portfolio, but typically 8 people in the Oxford model is where it's gonna land. So 1,250 divided by 8 is 157. It broke down to that on top of the income, where I'm trying to be around $100,000 a month, which is more of a vanity metric. I don't need to make that much money monthly, but obviously as we increase our income, we can do more in the community, right? Send it back out, do more impact. And so that's where I came to that number. And so now it's just reverse engineering on how quickly can we get to that point within the 5 years.
So what market are you going to be doing these in? I believe I was talking to Jason Shell just a little while ago, and he mentioned your name and how you're working on a deal in the DC area.
Yeah, so we're doing them nationwide. Really, wherever there's a need for a house, we're doing them there. So like specifically looking for Greensboro, North Carolina, there's a need there. Lafayette, Indiana, really any major metro across the country, if there's a specific need for housing. And that's where we're building relationships with Oxford representatives across the country to just know, like, where do you need a house? And then we're just trying to go and find them the opportunity, right? We're kind of like reverse wholesaling, but rather than a cash buyer, we're finding a high paying tenant that we can provide that solution for those folks that really need the housing.
So Oxford House is an organization that works for people with addictions?
Correct.
What exactly is Oxford?
They're a nationwide nonprofit. They've been around for about 80 years, and they sit specifically in like addiction recovery.
What is your buy box when you're looking for these homes? What is the ideal home for you?
Yeah, so our buy box is minimum of a 4-bed, 2-bath, around 2,000 square foot. Ideal is a 5.3, just to have the flexibility so we can add more folks, because we can typically put 2 people per bedroom. Oxford likes to leave at least 1 bed or 1 bedroom rather as like a solo occupant, like more privacy for somebody that's going through the program. They're paying their bills on time. They're following all the rules of the house, that they can kind of be upgraded and get that privacy. And so, but 4.2 is like our minimum. The biggest thing with sober is that it needs to be close to public transportation. So half mile or closer to a bus stop. Then outside of that, me personally, I only want to buy these creatively. And so trying to stay around 10 to 12% entry fee. And then outside of that, just all major metros nationwide is where we're looking for.
And when you say 10% entry fee, what exactly is an entry fee?
Yeah. So in a creative transaction, like if I'm buying a house sub 2, let's say the house is $350,000. I want the entry fee. So whatever cash to seller, cash to wholesaler, cash to an agent, closing costs to be around 10 to 12% of that purchase price. So if it's $350,000, I want to be right around $35,000 to $40,000 to acquire that property.
Okay, that makes sense. Hopefully, the audience understands that for sure. Okay. All right, cool. Where are you sitting at right now? Where are the lights? While the lights are going out behind you, what is the speech going on right now?
Yeah, I'm sitting in my coffee shop. This is Parallax Coffee Lab in Wendell, North Carolina. So it's about 15 minutes east of Raleigh. We've been open for just under a year. Next month is going to be our 1-year anniversary, which is really exciting. And this was more of a passion project than anything for me. I've always loved specialty coffee and always wanted to run a shop. Never thought it would be now. I thought that was going to be way farther down the line, but the opportunity presented itself, and I jumped at it. And so it's been really cool to get to know the community, kind of become a pillar in the space where a lot of events are happening here. We're holding baby showers, and the Chamber of Commerce meets here. I hold a monthly meetup here for real estate investors. And so it's been a really great funnel for our real estate business.
Okay.
But yeah, at the end of the day, it's just love to have a space where people can get together, come in and have really good conversations over a really good cup of coffee.
It's a community space, man.
Absolutely.
That's just like when you think about coffee shops and restaurants, like I think about the old gangster movies where they just, the owner just sits in the corner, sips his coffee all day, and
Right.
just people watch him.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, man.
Not to that point yet. We're still slinging deals. I'm too busy, but yeah, it's my office after hours, right? Like I've got a wife and 3 small kids at home. We're overrun with little kids running around, so I don't get a
Right.
lot of work done at home. And luckily, it's only 2 blocks away from my house, so I'll walk down here, or quick drive, and I can work on deals and shoot content like this. And it's been a great addition to the lifestyle for sure.
Oh, man, awesome. So what's your vision for the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously the sober is our big push to get to that 157 houses. So kind of breaking that down, year one, I want to pick up 20 more sober houses this year creatively, all across the country. So that's about 5 a quarter, very attainable, especially with the lead flow that we're getting from our own marketing efforts, and then just working with the sub-2 community, sending opportunities. Outside of that, continuing to do these creative flips, really want to get to $500,000 in revenue, which I think is very attainable in that space because I'm only looking at 6-figure profit deals. They're fewer and farther between to get people to understand the benefits of structuring a deal like this, but I can do less deals, make more money, right? It's never been a flex to me to say that I did 50 flips, but I only made $1 million, right? Like if I could do 5 flips and do the same volume as far as revenue, like I never got into this space to have another job. I'm busy enough, right? We're trying to kind of buy our time back and create a legacy for our families. And so if I can really squeeze that lemon and get the most out of each opportunity, that's what I'm going to do. And so that's a big push for me as well.
Okay. Cool. If I'm interested in working with you, or you have someone else that's newer in this industry, what's the best way for us to reach out to you and if we wanted to work with you?
Yeah, absolutely. Fastest response for sure will just be on Instagram. Shoot me a DM. My handle is at the Adam Colburn, Instagram and YouTube. Or if you just wanted to shoot me a text message, my cell phone number is 919-353-4231. Tell me that Israel sent you, and I'll take good care of you. See how I can provide as much value as possible.
No doubt. And guys, I promise you, Adam, he will go all out to help you. I've seen it firsthand. I've experienced it. That's why I'm reaching out to him. That's why I reached out to him to introduce you so I can introduce y'all to him, because he's a person of value. Again, in our community, we focus on being goal-givers first. And Adam he's a grade A player in this game of real estate investing that we're playing right here, right now. And he's also a business owner. And he has 1,000 other accolades that we could just go on and talk to him about. You know what I mean? He's a father, God-fearing man, a husband, but like he has a heart of gold and a passion to help other people. So like I will encourage y'all to all reach out to him. So Adam, like someone that's just starting out, what advice would you give to the person who's at the beginning of their real estate journey?
Yeah. Don't go it alone. Find a mentor. Find somebody that's doing the thing that you want to do, whether it be wholesaling, fix and flipping, buy and holds, owning a coffee shop, right? Find whoever's doing it and doing it well, go and attach yourself to that person, because it's going to shorten your timeline exponentially to get to where you want to be. You don't have to be an island, right? There's more than enough people that are willing to provide value, give you that hand up to get you started. Because I know me personally, that's one of my biggest regrets, is that I didn't do that. I tried to do it all myself, and I don't know if it was an ego thing or more like I don't think I have enough value to provide to somebody, but that's all limited mindset in your head. Like you do have value, even if it's just your time, right? For guys like me in Israel, we're incredibly busy in our businesses. That's the only asset that I can't buy more of is time.
Right.
And so leveraging yourself and being willing to provide time and do the things for folks that you look up to or you aspire to be, that's my number one advice, is just connect yourself to the right people.
For sure. And now I don't think there's like That's probably one of the biggest and best tips, whether it's in real estate or outside of real estate, wherever you are in life or wherever you are in your journey. Whether you need a spiritual mentor, you go to your pastor or your rabbi or some type of spiritual leader. If you're working out, you like people get trainers in the gym when they're trying to improve their health and their physical physique. Like having a mentor, you have mentors in different areas of your life. Just being connected with someone that's doing what it is you want to do. Like that cuts down the learning curve and increases your success rate tenfold, hundredfold,
That's huge.
infinitely. So, that's like that golden nugget right there. And like you, Adam, I suffered from that having that lone wolf syndrome, and I could definitely contest to it being an ego thing. I can do it by myself. I don't need nobody help. I'm self-made. All the other lies that
Yep.
people tell themselves. I want to be a self-made millionaire. No one helping me. But your parents helped you. You had teachers that helped you. You had other people that gave you hands up in life. So there's nobody out here that's a self-made nothing. Because
100%.
at some point in life, someone gave you a hand. Someone gave you a piece of advice, planted a seed in your head for you to think the way that you think right now. It took someone else to plant that seed in your head. You had to watch someone else. And those are mentors. Mentors could be a book. It could be a movie. It could be this video. Mentors could be anything, but it's someone that has a little bit more knowledge than what you have. And not any knowledge, just a specialized knowledge that you need.
Totally.
For sure. For sure. For sure. Adam, listen, or guys, listen, if y'all got any value from this, please leave a comment below and let me know one thing or maybe two things that you learned from this video listening to Adam talk, whether it's about acquiring homes, whether it's about sober living, whether it's about lending or becoming a private money lender or becoming a private money partner. Just leave one comment and let us know that you got value from this. Also, I want to encourage you to like, subscribe, and share this video to anyone that you think it could bring value to. Adam, listen, man, again, I just want to say thank you for coming on my platform and sharing your story and sharing your knowledge. This is going to be the first of many conversations that we're going to have. Because I know like right now, you're just at the beginning of your journey. You accomplished a lot. Like I know what you're doing, but the funny thing is, like we're just beginning in this thing right here.
Totally.
We're both beginners in this thing right
Yeah.
here, man.
Yeah, for sure. There's a long way to go. Absolutely. But I'm
Yes.
excited to run the race for sure. Yeah.
So listen, I ain't gonna hold no more of your time. I know you got to get home to your babies, man, and your wife, man. Tell them I said hi. I look forward to seeing them. Are you coming to the Squad Up Summit in a few weeks?
Well, I'll be there. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's going to be a movie out there, man. So look, if I don't see you before then, we don't connect before then, I'll see you at Squad Up. But again, thank you. I'm forever grateful for having you on my platform. And I'm going to see you on the next one. Tell the people one more time how to get in contact with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to reiterate, thank you again. I love what you're doing. Appreciate you thinking of me to come on and share some insights here. But yeah, for anyone that wants to reach out, you can hit me up on Instagram. It's at the Adam Colburn. Would love to work with you.
All right, cool beans, guys. Look, I'll see y'all on the next video. Peace.
See you guys.